His name's D. He goes by Tumbling D on social media. He's with Atlanta Air. And this is what they call the God Quad.
The God Quad?
Just watch this, dude. Bro, is that not insane, dude? A little bit of controversy over the weekend, as we talked about leading into you coming on with the incident, but let's clear that up right away. You and I spoke. They reached out to you guys prior to, asked for kind of the okay to go through this, if I'm not correct, and then you guys had said no at that point. It was an illegal move. And that they knew they would be disqualified if they pulled it. Anything that you've got to add to that aspect of it?
So I'll just say that they had reached out to us, so all the teams reach out to us every week to kind of clear their skills to make sure that all the legalities are met, right? Because we have different skills with spotters have to be in certain places to protect kids or to adults, whatever. So that part was done, and they did send that in. Sorry, this echo is really messing with me.
I apologize.
It's all good. I'm gonna take them off while I talk, and then I'll okay. So, yeah, so everyone sent everything in, and they all got kinda like their rulings on things, and we did there is a rule book, and Atlanta Air did have it, and the coaching staff did know, that the skill, wasn't legal, and, unfortunately, the athlete didn't. He didn't know, and I kind of equated it when I was talking after the show to some people. I was like, "Yeah, it's like when Donovan McNabb went to overtime in the NFL and said, 'Oh, we'll get him in the second half of overtime.'" And that's when he learned that there was no second half in overtime, because sometimes amazingly elite athletes don't know every nook and cranny of, kind of what's going on, and I felt awful for D because, I mean, first of all, that was an amazing pass. He's an incredible athlete, and he landed it like, I mean, I don't know if he did it 20 more times, if he could do it any more perfect than he did it. It's just unfortunate that it's in our rules, it says you can't twist more than 3 times, and to talk about Skylar's pass from 2 weeks ago, people are asking, "Oh, is he gonna spin in the first flip? Can he spin in the second flip?" The rules this year for our league say that, it's either 2 flips and no spins, or it is 3 spins and 1 flip. So that's where our kind of our limits sit. Like, for a lot of cheer people, like, we look like the land of the lawless because we've taken and we've expanded the rules beyond what anyone has seen, in the last, 20, 30 years. But, we do have rules, and, it was just unfortunate. I think D thought it was legal, and it wasn't, and, when you do something even accidentally illegal, if you can gain a competitive advantage from it, it's not fair to your competitors. So, unfortunately, the disqualification was really the only thing, the only action we could take in that scenario. And to your point, again, they were matched up against Miami Metal. So, there was a thought about like, what it does to the league and like, oh, could that we send them to the losers? If that sent them to the losers bracket, then what would have happened? Or a lot of options, but that wasn't how it went down.
Well, I think too. I mean, obviously, there's going to be things that get challenged. There's going to be things that don't necessarily have the eye pass the eyeball test because you guys are a fresh league, right? I mean, we're 2 matches into the inaugural season. We're looking at something you guys put together for a year. We just talked, about the NBA and the talent in the NBA outgrowing the league. Like, now everybody could dunk. Now everybody could shoot threes 10 feet from behind the arc. They're not changing the rules anytime soon. But that's probably something you guys are taking into consideration because, I mean, every year you guys are going to look at, what athletes are able to do and most likely look to adapt in some of those scenarios. And like you said, you're already allowing them to start pushing the limits on some of the things that they've been able to do through competitive cheer up until that point, right?
Oh yeah, like double back basket tosses. When that first came up in our first one of our early meetings, everyone was laughing like, absolutely not. We're not going to let people flip 2 times in a basket toss. That's crazy. But then the more we went into the research to people who had done it 20 years ago, they were like, "Actually, that basket's easier than this one, and this one." And so when you start talking to the people that have done it, and they tell you where they kind of feel like the risk of injury is, it kind of made it easier for us to choose, what skills we thought should be allowed and what shouldn't.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So after week 2, and let's talk a little bit about the league and how it got developed, I guess, initially. And I'll just repeat some of the things that you guys told me. This was actually an idea that you guys created or started 7 years ago. Were you a part of that original thought process 7 years back?
I was part of one of 2 conversations, yeah. There were 2 conversations going on about thinking we should have a professional league eventually that were parallel. They weren't working together. I was in my vertical, and obviously the top of the company was in theirs. We
Right.
were not in the same vertical. Yeah, so we had separate conversations going on, and then when people found out that the top wanted it, they were like, "Oh, well, I remember Lark's been talking about it," so I got to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. And then really the last year with Varsity's backing is when this became a reality because when you talk professional, you're talking somebody's got to get paid. I mean, especially these athletes, they're going to devote all of this time. Now, fortunately, we live in a day and age where the the time and the skills and the things that these athletes are developing and doing on TikTok, on YouTube, and all of that is allowing them an opportunity to earn money. But now you're asking them to do it, on a professional level. So the ability to pay athletes is part of that. The ability to just really build up an entire league and all the things that are required of it. Um, how's that partnership with Varsity been, and where's the future of that go? Because you guys also brought on Ion now too.
Yeah, so Ion's our broadcast partner. Varsity is producing the whole thing. They're funding this. They're powering this. We couldn't do it without Varsity. I'm still a full-time Varsity employee, and some of us still are with the PCL. It's great. We literally couldn't do it without them,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. When
So
we say we need X, Y, and Z, they don't say, "Oh, how much is it gonna cost?" They say, "If we need it, let's do it."
yeah, and to have that backing is awesome because ultimately the idea is that this league is successful. It's not a one and done. Because I'm sure you guys have already seen the involvement from the younger kids. Like there's actually something to attain to after scholastic cheerleading or competition cheer now.
Yeah, we were hoping to help give kids something to look up to, and then one of the things that we've done, details, is we have specialists in our league. So your daughter's an all-star cheerleader, so she kinda has to be the same level at stunting as she is at tumbling, in order to be on a team, but one of the things, like, no one cares to see Colin tumble. They care to see him hold a girl over his head and pop her back and forth or throw her as high as they can. They don't care if he flips or not. Whereas, like, in the all-star world and in the scholastic cheerleading world, like, all the score sheets and everything are based on ratios and proportions and, all those things, and we wanted to make sure that we had a home for the tumbler, the ex-gymnast that joins cheerleading late that may not know anything about stunting, or, the person who was an amazing stunter, but, they started tumbling, really late and they were afraid of it, so they never got good at it or whatever. Like, so we wanted to make sure that we had a home for every type of amazing cheerleader, and we really feel like we've struck that balance and created something fun, for every kid can see someone on that pro cheer league stage that represents them, and that, I think, is probably the coolest part when we're walking around afterwards. Even I mean, I took 3 pictures after the after the show, so there's somebody out there that was, like, looking up to referees, right? Like, it's crazy, but it's everyone up on that stage has someone that's looking up to them, and that's what keeps the dream alive for these kids, because I can't tell you, I was a high school cheerleader and a college cheerleader, and the number of people that are like, "But you can't go pro in cheerleading." You can now,
Yeah,
and
right.
that's one of the coolest feelings about the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right when and here you just look at any sports, right? Like every sport on the professional level has its specialists, whether it's baseball with closers and DHs, infielders versus outfielders, base stealers versus home run hitters, and then you go to the NFL, you got special teams, kickers, punters. So every league's got its specialist. I think that is kind of awesome that you incorporate that in that league because you're right. Not everybody is a Gabby Butler. Not everybody is a D. Not everybody is on that level of the Maddie Browns and that where they have a home in that team. Now you have guys that are former power lifters, that have a spot on the team. You've got amazing tumblers and gymnasts. You've got people that have been in the professional or the competitive league, I should say, for a long period of time. So it's exciting to be able to find spots for all those teams or for all those players, I should say, and somebody they can look up to.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
So let's talk a little bit about how, because you were a big part in developing the games. What was the
Yeah.
process thought of like, okay, first of all, we need a fan base, right? Like it's great to have cheerleaders watch us because they cheer and they're there and they might get excited about it. But we need to fill the stands, and in order to be successful, we need more money. We need people buying our merch. We need people showing up. We need people driving to come see us, et cetera, watch us on TV. So you had to get a different audience involved than the standard cheerleader. So I'm assuming the typical scorecard that bases a routine, which I could tell you I have no idea what any of it means, what drivers are, what this, that. As I learn it, I get more frustrated by it and less understanding of it. So how did you create these games that could get a guy like me to be like, oh, I understand what's happening here?
So we started with, like, core principles, right? Like, we wanted to make sure that it was easy for the non-cheer person to watch and kinda see what's going on. Even if you didn't understand it, like, each and every rule, right? Like, the same when we turn on curling, we don't know if that little finger touches illegal or not because that's, like, deep down in the rule books. But we understand the middle is better than the outside. Like, we understand that. So, curling is something we can watch and be fun. So, like, when we said, "Alright, what are some things we can do in cheerleading that the regular person can just watch and understand?" Alright, we can throw each other as high as we can. That's pretty cool. They'll watch that. Alright, we can flip as high as we can. They'll understand that. We can hold a person in the air as long as we can. They'll understand that. And so we kinda just kept building off that some of those things. And then one night, I went into the bag and came up with Flash Pyramid.
That's my
And,
favorite one.
that was one that was a hard sell. I was like, "I have this crazy idea. I wanna see people do pyramids at warp speed on the floor at the same time," and they were like, "What?" So, they made me fly to a cheerleading camp and test it, and see how that worked. We filmed it, and I brought the test back, and people were like, "You were right. It's a great game." And then Bill Seeley actually picked up on one little detail that was a very important detail, and, he added that in at one of our rehearsals. It was as late as a month before Indy. We were doing like, a mock meet with the production crew, and Seeley added, and he said, "Oh, you know what? I think you need to add another line for the building line because at first, we had the holding line, and then you just built on the other side of the holding line. So it was everyone was taking one step and chucking them in the air. You think the build times are fast at 5 seconds? When they didn't have to run before, it was 1 second. It was crazy to watch.
That's awesome.
So we put out that other line to make them have to run to the spot, and that's what makes it I think that's actually what makes it even more fun now. So it was a great job by Bill.
So let me ask you, when we'll talk about the flash pyramid for a minute, because for those who don't know, flash pyramid, you guys flash a pyramid design on the wall.
Mhm.
The team is there, which they could have up to 20 players on the actually 20 athletes on the stage at once, is I think is the rule, right? Is the
So
most they
that's
can
actually
have.
a rule only for the 1st quarter, but
Oh, is it
yeah,
okay?
that's fine.
But they have X amount of athletes that are up there, and then they get the flashcards the week in advance, so they know, or so far in advance, like they know what the type of pyramids are, so that they can kind of plan who's going to do what, etc. And then they're all standing on the stage. You guys flash one up, and they have to remember who's who does what on that particular pyramid, and they have to do it. This week, I think they were faster than the last week.
They were by about point oh 0.03 seconds.
Okay, so not that much faster. I mean, but within 5 seconds, they're looking at something and everybody's out there. Like, I mean, it reminds me of like basic training in the military, like where they're like, you got 30 seconds to get dressed and get outside, except everybody's a total Charlie Foxtrot. But these guys came out and they're like lined up, ready to go and up there in a matter of seconds. But that game is definitely one of the most entertaining, and it's simple, right? It's scored by who does it the fastest.
Yep, whoever gets up first. It's exciting to watch. That's one of the core principles. We found that in cheerleading, like all-star cheerleading, you don't know who's won till you get to the award ceremony, obviously. Like, you
Mhm.
can watch every team and you're kinda like, I don't know."
Right.
If you're a real cheer person, you can kinda score it and you can kinda know who's gonna win. But if you're just an average parent, average fan, you're watching it and going, "All these level 3 teams do the same level 3 skills. How do I pick who wins?" And so one of the principles was we needed to make sure that, like, when you watched us, you could kinda feel like you knew who won the head-to-head matchups, obviously. But the other piece is that it had to be fun. And cheerleading, when you're waiting for judges, is stressful
Yeah.
because it's not fun while you're waiting for the judges. And then, like, when the judges drop the scores, it's fun for one team, and then the rest of the teams are usually typically disappointed.
Sure.
So one of the things that's great about the pro cheerleague we've created a whole lot of opportunities to win, right? So, like, we created all these different games to win mini points and whatever like that, which is the same as your favorite NBA player hitting 2 or 3 threes in a row. Those moments are great for him. He went 3 for 3 in the 3rd quarter. We didn't have that in cheerleading. We just had we won or we lost.
Right.
And so one of the things that we wanted to create was highlight moments. And then we went as molecular as saying, we want all of our games to be short enough that the entire thing could be posted on TikTok. So that anyone who misses the match could still feel like they got to see almost all the highlights on social, but still feel like they may have missed something. Something back to your first hour when you were talking about like the reason the Olympics aren't really being watched anymore. One of the things I was thinking is because people don't like to watch recorded sports and you all are at jobs, so we're not watching 2 o'clock curling.
Right.
But in the evening, if we actually cared, we've already looked up the results. So
Mm.
that's why I feel like people aren't watching. And I think it's the same thing in most sports. And so even though people can watch our highlights on social, they want to see it live.
Sure.
And they want either want to see it live on a screen or they want to see it live in person. And so that's one of the things that we're hoping we're creating is that anticipation of wanting to feel the moment, not just see it on a phone.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because we did like to talk about the Olympics a little bit, and I think that's a good point. The other point you made too is you said the games are short enough where you can watch them on TikTok. It's funny. My daughters can watch. She picked 2 movies to watch on the plane ride the other day, and she's like, "Well, sometimes I get bored in the first 5 minutes, and I don't want to watch it anymore." I'm like, "Man, if are we making movies now where they have to get your attention in the first 5 minutes, like they're playing like
Try
the
like 30 seconds, dude.
Yeah.
but it's definitely changes the of what you need to be able to do in order to keep people entertained and stuff like that, and to really find out what happened if they missed a match or not. So let me ask you this: have you guys gotten numbers back from the TV ratings this week versus week one?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I believe the ratings come out tomorrow.
Okay, that's got to be
I don't
exciting
know.
because
Or maybe they only come out to me tomorrow.
because if I'm not mistaken, week one you guys had more viewers on Ion than any other sports program that was on TV at all that night. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It
I
is
still get
crazy.
weird thinking about that
Well,
because there was a lot of college basketball on.
yeah, I think that just goes to show, that there's a lot of people that are out. I mean, this weekend and this tournament, and Ed, just to give you an idea, there was just about 1,500 competitive cheer teams there in Atlanta. So you think on an average, you've got between, I think, 12 and 30 kids per team. Most of them aren't on multiple teams either. So you think about how many kids are there that weekend. Even if you take the small amount, you're talking, quite a few thousand people that are in the stands or available are cheering. So if you take that number all over the country, the amount of people that are in competitive cheer that are going to find this interesting, they might have a fan base as large as some of the major sports that are out there. Now they have an avenue to test that, to take a look at that and see it live on TV.
That just sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare from any perspective of both feeding, flights, hotels. I mean, that sounds like all hell. It could be broken loose at any time.
Luckily, I was in the military, so I'm really good at hurrying up and waiting. But so let's talk a little bit about the league and the developing it in general. A couple of things. And how are you doing on time? I know it's about 7:15. You okay? Great. One, we talked about it earlier. I've never met Gabby, but I know that every time I've had a chance to talk to all the other athletes, she brings so much attention to the league. And in terms of cheerleading, she's 28 years old, not what you would consider your typical, prime cheerleader's age, I guess you would look at it. I mean, shoot, now gymnastics retired in the Olympics at like 19 or 23 or something. So for her to, one, still love doing it as much, but two, she's really become the face of the league. What was it like getting her involved? How easy was it for her to get involved? Was that at all part of the initial spark to this league? Like, hey, we really need to get some people that are going to draw attention to the league. How did that partnership come together, and her being part of that, and then really finding all the other talent that's on the field?
So first of all, I have to say, Gabby Butler has earned every single thing that she's gotten. She is an amazing human being. She's an amazing athlete. I've known her since she was close to 15 years old, and I remember watching her compete in All Stars, and she was cheer famous back then also. And my son's babysitter was her back spot for a year. So I I got to know of her, and then, at Worlds the one year, she actually ended up sitting down right next to me for a couple hours, which if you've seen how people gravitate towards Gabby, you can understand the number of people that were coughing on me for the next couple of hours while she was sitting next to me. Um, but she made sure that, like, she wouldn't take photos with people while someone was performing. She was always so good about telling everyone, and this was at 15 years old. She was always so good about telling you, "Hey, everyone squat down, make sure everyone can see the teams that are performing, and in between the teams, I'll take photos." I mean, I can't say enough great things about the human being that she is. That being said, when we created the Pro Cheer League, we took the Field of Dreams approach. If you build it, we hope they'll come, because we knew there were a whole lot of really good cheerleaders in this industry that might be willing to get paid to do what they love, but we had to create something that was fun for them, like, not just the format for the games, but the format for pay, treating them like professional athletes, making sure that it didn't feel like they were just on another open team and slapping the pro cheer league, on the division. Like, it actually had to feel like something, and we've been fortunate that we've been able to create it, and then, you get a couple of Gabby Butlers, you get an Angel Rice, you get a Corey Little, you get a Liam Patulski, you get Skylar, you get these people I'm sure I'm forgetting people that all have in the
Of
5
course.
million followers, and I apologize if any of you are watching and I've forgotten you. But you get these people that have this huge following because of their athleticism, and you create a platform for them to kinda grow it. I mean, I'm hoping most of them have gained, not that they needed to gain followers and they didn't need to gain clout, but pretty sure they all have, because this now it's on a different level. So we've been so thankful to have those athletes be a part of this and really show out and just be amazing ambassadors of our sport, for the current athletes. I mean, you have to drag them out of the signings. You're like, "All right, guys, really? You really, really need to be backstage right now. Your team is warming up. I really need you to stop signing autographs for a minute and go back." They're all just so great, and all of them have told me, like, "Oh, I'm just doing this for the kids, man. It's fun for me, but I'm just doing it so these kids have something more to look up to than I did." And all of them just have the right attitude. I mean, they've been so amazing. All of them are doing this for reasons bigger than themselves, and myself and all the other people at the PCL just couldn't be more grateful because obviously without the athletes, we have nothing. So these athletes have just been amazing.
Yeah, and when it originally came to starting to find these athletes out, how did you, from the conversation with you and the commissioner was originally you had 800 applicants for this league. How did you go about like letting people even know? Because I mean, once again, as an outsider, I didn't even know this was existing or formulating a year ago. But somehow you had to get out there and go, all right, we need athletes. We got to have tryouts. How did we pick the 4 cities that are going to start with the initial 4 teams? Um, and how do we pick these coaches, or do we pick these coaches? What were some of the strategies around all that aspect, and what were some of the logistics of that?
So we worked with some partners that helped us make some of the really tough decisions, some consultants, that have helped with other pro leagues, and they really kinda helped us pick the cities and pick some of those things. For the athletes, though, it was, we kinda just put out on all of our social medias and make sure we got the word out that, tryouts are coming, this is gonna be the tryout, the Pro Cheer League is coming. First you have to announce a league, then you have to put a baseline of education out there that, "Okay, we're gonna have a league," and then we say, "Okay, there's open tryouts for this league, sign up online," and, whatever. Some people send us some highlight reels, and we just had to start filtering through them, just like, standard all-star cheerleading tryout or a high school cheerleading tryout. You start with 800 and you whittle it down to the 100, the around 100 athletes that we have on now. But I mean, it's not easy, but once we got the word out, it did spread pretty good once the right people found out, and that was important for year one in getting that growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, got a couple of questions here from my daughter who's in here as well. Um,
It
did
was the
how?
3rd quarter I used her corn.
Yes, she did get her coin used to get her coin flipped. That was awesome of you, by the way. We
Nice.
really appreciate that.
Uh,
The question she had was though was more around like obviously Navarro played was a big part of the social media I guess following when their stories on Netflix and things like that. This is before I knew anything about it, but um, how much did it have any effect in saying like, hey, look how many people are willing to watch this on Netflix. This can really help the league. This league could really be something big. Did that play any effect knowing that was out there? Or
I can't I guess I can't say it had 0 effect. I mean, it did help prove social proof. You know what I mean? Like that people were interested.
Right.
So, and that people really wanted to see more of the backside of cheerleading, not just the 2.5 minutes on the floor. They wanted to see the training. They wanted to see the grit. They wanted to see the sweat. They wanted to see the fails. They wanted to see you go through the struggles and build something. And that was nice that general population wanted to watch that show and feel engaged in it. It was kind of weird the first time I had one of my neighbors say, "Hey, do you know Gabby Butler?" And I was like, "I do, but why do you?"
um, so speaking of, and this goes to this weekend. I don't know if you saw. There's a cheerleader out of a team. I can't remember if it's Royalties or something. Her name. Her name. What is Spirit of Texas? I guess. Her name is Brooklyn something or other. But did you use Brooklyn Lily? Did you? I'm sorry, I'm getting all this real time.
I hear her. Yeah, we're good.
But she, I guess there was a point where she was essentially swarmed at in the bathrooms in the Coliseum there in between rounds. Did you? I wouldn't. I guess, is this what social media has kind of done with some of these high school kids? And how is that looked at? And I don't know how much you get to see this or play a part of it, but with security at these events, because these girls at such a young age become so famous on social media and things like that, which is obviously great if they eventually decide to, join the league. But leading up to it, because your league is at this same area, because you have plenty of girls that are athletes in the league that are walking around there and going to warm-ups and traveling through. Luckily, I mean, I was there on Friday where most of them were going back and forth and there was nobody there and even knew that they were, taking place. But how is it like? What does that look like with security? How much is that a concern with you guys? What do you guys have to kind of do to prepare for those different things?
So, well, I don't really do much with the weekend part of the events.
Hmm.
So I don't know much about the Saturday and Sunday.
Gotcha.
I'm just there with PCL, and I can tell you that for PCL, we do have enough security to make sure that Gabby's not going to get mobbed and things like that. We're very conscious of knowing that like we have an emerging sport, and you can't just, if this was baseball, you can't just have Mike Trout available for the fans to just like collapse on, right? So like we're aware of it. We know we're going to have to be ready for it in the PCL. Fortunately, we have some buddy systems in place where like we make sure that if someone's going, then other people are going with them, and we can kind of build in some of those protections in the PCL. As far as the youth ages, I'll be honest, I stopped following the cheerlebrities, a long time ago. It just felt weird as a 40-plus-year-old man, getting involved in caring about the 16 and 17-year-old kids at other gyms. I respect them all, they're amazing athletes, including the one we were just discussing, she's amazing. But I stopped. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have known that story if I hadn't tripped over it on social media, if that
Right.
makes sense. Because I'm not in any of the meetings that would have been talked about, like, if it was discussed, and I'm sure it was. If there was an issue, I'm sure it was discussed. But I'm not in those meetings, so I don't know what they're doing. I do know that we care a lot about everyone's safety at these events, but I can't speak on what we do for cheerlebrities, if you will.
Sure.
But it does happen because they get very, very, very popular.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, once again, it's great for the league in the future as these athletes start to move up. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, some of these level 6 teams that compete, like, it's amazing the fans that they have from all over the world when they're, 2,000 miles away in a gym just doing their thing on a day-to-day basis, show up to these things, and to have them have 6, 7, I mean, they have more people there watching than the PCO because of seats that are available. They're sitting on the floors in the concession stands watching the big screens, and it's definitely an incredible event, and it's got to be inspiring to you guys knowing that there's a fan base out there that is ready and just waiting for this league to take off.
Oh, yeah, it's really cool because everyone's really thirsty for more. They wanna see what's next, and I think that was part of the going back to the D thing. They wanted to see more than what Skylar did, and they wanted to see more than what they saw the week before, and they did. They just but so I get that. That's where the thirst comes from. They
Sure.
wanna see the things they've never seen before.
So, let me ask you this too, and I don't know if obviously I'm not privy to the conversations you get to have and the feedback that you guys are getting, but did this week, did we witnessed the Miami Metal almost become too good. And what does that look like for parity in the league looking forward? Because I felt like there was, and I think the D incident did flip the switch a little bit in the audience. But I'm interested to see what the feedback you guys are getting now, or if you're hearing anything on the parity in these leagues, because obviously if one team becomes just super good, you're going to continue to just build with great athletes that want to go compete with the team that's super good. And how you guys have talked about that.
Well, all leagues have a Cleveland Browns, and all leagues have a
Wow.
New England Patriots. I'm not saying we have a Cleveland Brown. I'm just saying that there's always a spectrum in the sport, and every sport has them, right? So right now we have a spectrum, but I will say this: Atlanta and Golden State are third and fourth in the current standings right now. But man, did they look good this weekend?
Yeah,
They came up a half a second short in Flash Pyramid. They came up a couple inches short in this game. You know, co-ed endurance. It was a bad draw for Dallas Drive having to go against Kyle, and they go to the losers bracket in that corner. Like it gets tough. Like the way the schedule can roll out, but like this the same way Dallas has now beaten Metal twice head to head. If they would have happened at the beginning of quarters, it would have cost Metal 2 points instead of only 1 point, right? So
sure.
some of this is like how the schedule lays out. And so we'll see over time. But like, we all saw the Patriots go 18-0 and then lose to the Giants in the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
right? Like, so
absolutely.
there's all kinds of things in sports, and with it only being our second week, I'm not ready to crown them. They are damn good though.
They are really, but it's what, it's entertaining to watch. And like I said, it was awesome. Actually, I enjoyed seeing the fans kind of switch to the underdog in Atlanta there, when it being a hometown, obviously. But just people start to go like, hey, you know what? What's going on here? These guys might be too good, because as much as people loved the Patriots, there was a line of people that loved to hate the Patriots too, and it
Sure.
just made for great games and great competition. And the more people that are talking about it, it's only better for the league in the long run as far as their growth goes.
Yeah, and the way our scoring works in the league, it's hard to like run away with it because in Nashville everything counts double. So teams can make comebacks. So I'm not that worried.
So let's talk about that real quick as far as the scoring system goes, because we're talking about matches, and then we're talking about an overall champion in Indiana, and then an overall champion here in Atlanta most recently. So people could look at it as Miami's 2-0, but that's not necessarily how the champion is going to be crowned. It's more based off of a NASCAR style where they're gaining points throughout all these competitions, that's going towards a national champion. Like, is that how I understand it,
Mhm.
towards the final championship?
Yeah, think of it like the PJ Tour, FedEx Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You can get points at each match. They carry over and they take you to the championship. So each week we take the match scores, their total points, and we carry it into the standings. So each match stands on its own, but the season-long standings are the cumulative total of the matches,
Gotcha.
which is still easier to understand than the way Ed explained baseball.
Wow. I feel, Lark, I appreciate you breaking all this down for me. And let me ask you this, from somebody who doesn't have a daughter in cheer, and somebody who's just kind of now even learning about this as I go, and I'm doing this with Will and having this conversation with you. I mean, where should I start? Where should someone like myself, who can appreciate this as as an athlete, and I would call myself that 10 years prior now at least. But where should I start? How should I be looking into this? Obviously following on social media is one thing, but where should I genuinely, like, if I had a starting place, where should I start?
You should come to a match.
Okay. All right.
You need to feel it.
They'll be in
The
Nashville.
atmosphere is very different.
I guess I have to. I have some off-topic random questions for you at the end of the interview that I think you'll either really appreciate or really not like.
Well, I've got I've got a couple more here from some of the others. One, are athletes allowed to compete in multiple events? So, for instance, the basket
Yes.
talks along with co-ed endurance. There's no rules to how the teams portray the rosters or anything like that.
No, in week 1, Autumn Schless for Atlanta competed in, I wanna say, co-ed endurance and all-girl endurance.
Okay.
I wanna
Uh,
say she in those.
and then what led you guys with it? So first of all, kudos on the uniforms. They're actually less revealing than the competitive scholastic uniforms, which I think is classy for a pro league. So kudos to that. How did you guys come up with the idea of putting numbers on them though? Was that kind of like a,
That was Bill Seeley's idea,
yeah.
and none of us liked it. I'm not afraid to admit it. There were so many of us that were like, "Billy, we can't do this. We can't do this. We can't do this." Then as soon as I saw the uniforms, I was like, "Damn, when he's right, he's right." It's so great because it makes the opportunity for a sportscast.
Yeah.
Because now Richard and Maddie can recognize exactly what athlete is by the number on their jersey, say it and do it. And we had never really thought of that in cheerleading.
Yeah. And I
So
think,
when he first kept holding on to, oh, it's got to have it, it's got to have it, it's got to have it, and we're like, oh, okay, it's got to have numbers. We'll see. Like I can't tell you the number of times there were side conversations like, there's no way we're gonna end up with numbers. And now I love them. I absolutely love them.
I mean, I do too, and I think it opens up the door. I mean, like right now, the merchandise is limited to a couple of things: hoodies, t-shirts, etc. And they've got some generic jerseys, baseball jerseys, and stuff I saw in the Varsity store. But I mean, I think it's another opportunity for these athletes to market themselves in the future, have a way of gaining a little bit of money, and then who knows where it leads? Like, do numbers eventually start to get retired? Is there a cheerleading Hall of Fame? I don't know. That might already exist.
David, you're getting into the questions that I want to ask him. I have so many questions right now. When Will's done talking, I have so many questions for you.
Well, I'll let you talk next. It's just exciting when there's a new league because new leagues don't open every day.
I know.
Especially in a sport where you're not involved in, and it's more exciting than curling.
Well, and we're not trying to like. Almost every league that comes out now is trying to take a twist on something else, like Savannah Bananas. Like that's a real league now, but it's really like a twist off of baseball.
Right.
It's like the Harlem Globetrotter version of baseball.
Yes, but there's no Washington Generals.
Yes, true.
But yes, so like we're seeing like leagues like that pop up, and like with cheerleading, like we're dropping the first league, and we're Savannah Banana, and that's not a verb, but yeah, we're Savannah Banana-ing cheerleading because we're making sure that it's so much fun, and we're building it at the same time as we're building the league. So it's like we're Savannah Bananing a sport as we're building it, which would be, I guess, like the equivalent of like when they first built Major League Baseball if they'd had guys on stilts.
Fair enough.
All right, Ed. I don't want to take all your thunder, so let's hear some of the goodies.
So let me ask you this: if a Tanya Harding situation came up, how would that be handled? Follow up to that: are you ever going to turn the jerseys that they're wearing or the attire that these guys are wearing into like what Major League Soccer is overseas? If so, how much ad space can Guys Night Podcast buy onto that first and foremost? Second off, if there's a card to come out and Panini is doing it, can we get the exclusive rights to be on there as well? Follow up from everything that you're telling me, this sounds like almost like TLC is going to buy the rights to gym moms, like the dance moms. Yeah, it sounds like a TV show in the making here.
All right. Do you have a good question now?
I pray that we don't ever go down that route. I will say I do hope we can have trading cards.
That would be awesome.
Can you imagine like trading cards with a piece of Gabby Butler's uniform?
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Like, oh, you have a 1 of 1.
Yeah.
You have the M from Gabby Butler's jersey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that.
So do you guys have conversations with the athletes? Are they getting excited now? Week 2, are you getting some feedback from them? Like, wow, this is better than I expected, or I have all these ideas. Like, is that something that you guys entertain at all? Or are you guys kind of keeping the athlete league separate at the time being?
No, we want to hear from the athletes.
Yeah.
They're the ones doing it.
Yeah.
They're the ones who can tell us what's fun. I'm 40. I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't know what they can do anymore. Like when I was 40, I'm sorry, when I was in college, the most we could really do was like toss a girl, she could spin once, and we could catch her with 2 hands. Now they are with 1 hand, tossing a girl that's doing a backflip and the twist, and catching her with 1 hand over their head. Like that's just stupid.
It's insane.
Like, I don't know who thought of some of that stuff. So like we have to talk to our athletes. Our athletes have to feel like they can come to us with ideas. This has to feel like a team thing. We can't build this without them, and they can't build it without us. So we got to do this together.
Yeah, and for those listening, I apologize. I understand there's an echo coming through. We're gonna get that fixed for the next interview, but I will have this interview set up separately if you guys subscribe. to the channel. I'll make sure that I post this separately, the full interview in entirety, so that you guys can hear everything that we've talked about in clear sound. So once again, apologize. If you've got questions for Lark, who is one of the creators of the Pro Cheer League, please put them down in the comments. As of now, I'm fielding them from high schoolers that heard that we were doing this, that are friends with my daughters, that are interested. So would love some new questions from the people that are out there. But what are some immediate plans for the future for the league? What's because you've got, what, 3 weeks before Nashville?
We have 1 week before Houston.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I didn't even think about Houston.
We're not this Friday, but the following Friday we're in Houston. 2 weeks later we're in Los Angeles, and then 2 weeks after that we're in Nashville.
Oh, wow. Is that the Los Angeles? I didn't even realize Los Angeles was on the show as well. That's going to be awesome. You guys got to be really excited about that.
I am excited about that one. I'm not excited about the flight. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm
What
excited about getting there and having fun.
what's some of the feedback after week 2 though? Anything where you guys saw some things that you want to work on, some things that are going to be changed? Is D's going to be reviewed? Is that going to be something that may or may be allowed or not in the immediate future?
So we had our league-wide meeting today,
Okay.
which is the coaches, the managers, and then our front office.
Okay.
And we talked, and we're not making that skill legal this year. It's
Gotcha.
not, we don't. That would be a knee-jerk reaction, and that's below the league that we're trying to build.
Gotcha.
I think that's the best way to say it, and that's not a disrespectful statement to what D can do. But we have a lot of athletes that wanted to push these boundaries, and in year 1, we said, "We don't wanna push those boundaries in year 1. We can talk about them for year 2." So, I fully expect to have some new skills legal in year 2 that weren't allowed in year 1. Stay tuned. Um, yeah, and I hope we get to see D do that quad again, and this time win something with it. Absolutely. But probably not in the next 3 matches. Unless Commissioner Newby calls me and changes that rule, we're gonna probably wait until year 2 before we revisit that one.
Gotcha. Any other feedback? Any other things that you're allowed to share out of today's meetings that can get out there and share with people that are listening?
Can't tell too much, but we have started, writing some rules for some new games and tossing some new games around.
Oh, I like that.
So,
No pun
that
intended.
process began today.
No pun intended.
Tossing some new games around, no pun intended. Right. Yeah, we see what you did there.
Well, hey, I'm glad that you got a chance to join us and share a little bit. With you being so close, we'll definitely have to have you maybe live if you guys got some time, or if your kids got some sporting events here in the eastern side of Ohio. Where at PA are you at?
Harrisburg, right in the
Oh
middle.
gosh, you're way on the other side. 7-hour drive from Medina. I made that one a couple of times to the Manheim auctions back in the day.
Yeah, my son's a, ECNL soccer player,
Awesome.
so we're up and down the East Coast. I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
How are
for a
you
tournament.
juggling work-life cheer balance right now? It's got to be stressful some days. How's the wife and the family handling it?
So the wife was there this weekend.
Oh, great.
That was great. She also works for the company. She actually handles stats for the Pro Cheer League.
Oh, wow. No
So
kidding.
that was nice. She doesn't have to go to all of them because she can do the stats from the computer,
hmm
but she was there for Valentine's Day. She flew down, she met me. Son didn't have a soccer tournament this weekend. It's this coming weekend. But he does have tournaments the next 3, Pro Cheer League matches. So I fly home and try to catch what I can catch.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, me doing well in Indy and the PCL doing well in Indy, second biggest thing of the weekend. My son scored a goal in his college showcase on Saturday morning with his new team, so, like, that completely overshadowed my PCL success in my house.
You know what though? If dad's not out being outshone by son, he's doing something wrong, right? So congratulations to all his success and to yours as well, and to the PCLs. I'm excited to see where this league goes. We're hoping they have the opportunity to speak to some of the athletes. I guess my final, bringing this back to the Guys Night podcast, final aspect of this. You said you were a college cheerleader and competitive cheerleader in your heyday. How much impact do men now have in the competitive and now pro cheer environment? Because their roles have really changed over that period of time, and are got to be a key factor, I'd imagine.
The evolution of men in cheerleading hasn't changed that much. The spotlight has changed. The perception has changed. The athletes are the same.
Okay.
Um, if I look back to when I was a cheerleader in college and in high school, we had some freak athletes back then. I mean, there's a female, and I'm gonna use a female as an example, but her name was Brooke Davis. She was in the late '90s, early 2000s what Haley is today. I mean, she was the absolute best female co-ed partner stunner, bar none. It wasn't close. Your daughter's coach, Earl,
Mhm.
was a freak of a partner stunner. He was an amazing cheerleader when he was cheering at University of Louisville. I mean, you've seen how big he is. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
is
jacked.
he's huge. And, so the role hasn't changed, just the spotlight. The spotlight has changed with what we do and how we do, and male cheerleaders are now finally starting to kinda get their credit, more so now than they used to get it. And it's nice to see because when I was a cheerleader, we didn't get a whole hell of a lot of credit. I was I I'll put it to you this way, I did 2 things in college. I was a kicker on the football team, and I was a cheerleader. And I can't tell you which one I caught more flack for, but you imagine what a how the amount of flack a kicker gets for, even owning shoulder pads and a helmet.
So
I used to catch quite a bit of flack for that and quite a bit for being a cheerleader, and that's changed, and I'm glad it's changed.
yeah, it's exciting to see and the diversity as far as the stunts that they're able to compete too. I mean, the one the one that really gets me going during the events is when Miami did it, and I think Atlanta did it too, where they literally throw the flyers from one group to the next, and it's like a 10-foot throw. And I'm just like, that to me is the most exciting part of the night. I think I like that more than the high toss. Um, but you've got to have some strength in there. You need these athletes to take part in it. And I think there's always been a stigma from the jocks, right? The football players and the wrestlers about male cheerleaders, and it goes back to the days of Bring It On and stuff
Such
like
a
that.
great movie.
Such a
I wasn't
classic.
gonna say that because that's my only reference I have to knowing anything about cheerleading. But what a killer movie!
But it's changed now, and they've got just as many followers out there on social media because people like to see, the God Quad and the athletes of this endurance level being able to throw somebody or bounce somebody up off of one hand because these girls are still 100+ pounds to do that 55 times. Like just thinking about doing that with a
No, no,
100
no,
or
no.
50.
Ho. If I don't jump in and protect my girls, none of those girls are weighing 100 pounds.
100 plus.
No,
Oh no.
no.
Sub 100.
Sub 1, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
And I'm not
okay.
saying Colin could do that with me.
Yeah.
And I'm post 2.
Yeah, right.
But most of those girls, yeah, they're not 100+ pounds.
Oh my gosh, I would have never
Not the ones
expected.
that not they're doing crazy stuff with.
Gotcha. I gotcha. I guess that's the
So
benefit of being a flyer. So you mentioned you knew my daughter's coach, Earl. Did you cheer with him in college, or how did you guys know each other?
no, I'm a good bit older than Earl.
Okay.
I we coached together at a gym years and years ago.
I gotcha. But he was a competitive cheerleader or did you say Louisville?
University of Louisville, yes.
I would have never guessed that. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine being
You'd have never guessed it in college? Yeah, I understand.
well, I mean, you know what? It's funny because I guess competitive cheerleading in college, like you just don't think that much of it. And like, you look at, I mean, Earl's a stacked dude. So you see him I mean, obviously he knows cheer, but like, I feel like most cheer coaches, like the wife maybe knows, the husband just does the athletic training or vice versa. So hearing that, he comes from that highest standard of college cheerleading is pretty cool. Are you starting to see a dynamic change in college cheerleading? Is there more stunting and stuff like that going? Because I know when you get to like the NFL and stuff like that, that's like dance. But like, are you starting to see more competition in the college ranks?
So I don't really track college cheerleading.
Okay.
I've been working on the PCL project for a couple of years. Before that, I worked on something called the Varsity Cheerleague,
Hmm.
which is nothing more than a points race for youth cheerleading. So every
Okay.
event your daughter goes to, her team gains points for going to that. I'm kind of like the math nerd at varsity. But I get handed the projects that are, can you make this make sense mathematically and make sure that it's fair for everyone? That's kind of like how I get handed things.
Awesome. Awesome. So do you think we'll see any of the new games this season? Maybe is that a chance? And did you guys get rid of the high jump?
Wow, that's the first person that's picked up on that. You may see high jump again.
I loved the high jump. I honestly, I think that first match, I think Dallas would have won that if he didn't go for such a high jump. All he had to do is tie or beat him by one. I think he went like 3 inches higher. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, because the rules in week 1 were a combined total of 2 tumbling passes.
Okay.
So it was a combined total of the 2 athletes. So he had to do 7-8 to win by 1.
Ah,
One of the rules we have in the PCL for that game is you may not aim for a tie. So you chose to go second because you wanted to see the numbers, you have to go for the win.
gotcha.
So you have the advantage by getting to go for the win, but you have to go for the win.
So if somebody jumps 7, the other team jumps 7-4, and then the next guy jumps 7-4, you're sitting at 14-8. So that 7-foot team has to do 7'8" in order to, or 7'9" in order to.
Exactly.
Interesting. So did you guys take
That's
it
what
out?
happened in week 1.
Did you guys take it out this week, or because of that, did nobody want to play it?
No, it was just out this past week.
Okay, so
You
that's
see it again.
another
We can rotate
evolving.
games, we can float games. We got a lot going on in year 1, Will.
Yeah, I
Like,
can
if
imagine.
you look at the indie game, we were over time for our broadcast by a little bit. So there's just so much going on. And like we were hesitant at first about should this be debuting on live TV? But then we got the opportunity. We said, yes, it should be debuting on live TV. But it just amplifies all the things that we have to do and make sure that we do them correctly. So it's just we can rotate things around, we can move things. It's still evolving.
Well, that's the next question. A couple of bumps in the road early on with music and stuff like that. That didn't necessarily happen in week 1, did it?
No, it didn't.
What I mean, obviously incidents happen, but live TV makes that stuff all kind of a little bit more difficult. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a focus on that moving forward.
For sure.
Yeah, excellent.
We've already addressed it, and we feel we're in good shape for Houston.
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking some time to join us here. Ed, do you have any more brilliant questions?
My questions are supposed to be just humorous at this point, since I have nothing really of education to add to this conversation. But no, Lark, thank you very much for your time, man. I really do appreciate it. Learning more about this, I'm kind of getting a little hyped. Now I really do want to come see some more of these events now.
Well, you're lucky. It's in Nashville, so you go to your line dancing right after.
This is true. The best of both worlds there.
What we really got to do is get you go to the gym and see if you can't throw somebody.
Listen, I've dislocated the shoulder 3 times and my elbow is dislocated twice. So I'm not throwing. The only thing I'm throwing back is ice cream, potato chips, some food.
And
excuses, significant excuses. Those are the heaviest things.
Lark, last one. I know last week you, and I just thought of this, but last week you had the level 6 teams join in the little pregame action and things like that. I mentioned you guys, because you kind of have a halftime, but you don't really have a halftime. Thought of getting the fans involved in the halftime at all? A little extracurricular, outplank your favorite pro on stage or anything like that?
We've talked about doing things that bring people out onto the stage.
Yeah.
The live TV element has made us a little gun shy so far.
Gotcha. Anything could happen.
We don't have that wide buffer zone that like Major League Baseball gets or that the NFL gets or anything like that. We've got a tighter window.
Right. Yeah. You don't have the NBA halftime show that lasts 25 minutes where you could do 100 or 100 halftime shots.
So with this halftime show, now is there an option for it to be all in English? Or is it Spanish?
Oh my.
Yeah, we're going to let him go on that. Lark, hey, thanks again, man. Appreciate you. We'll get the audio fixed for the next time, and we'll definitely have you on before the end of the season to hear how things have stepped up and going forward.
Thanks, Lark.
Great. I hope to see you guys in Nashville.
Absolutely, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.